Now, investigators are agonizing over the timing of their second attempt to detain President Yoon, especially following their first failed attempt. It could be literally any time from now. Let's discuss more with Professor Baik Tae-ung. Welcome.
Hello.
So there are lots of possibilities being raised. Could the investigators' move to detain President Yoon take place during the day or at night, or maybe even over the weekend? But Professor, when do you think may be the best time for the CIO this time?
It is difficult to say when at this time because they do not they have not disclosed the deadline of the new second arrest warrant, but I think prosecution and police will likely to want to execute it as soon as possible. Some say it could be executed today. Considering the barricades and barbed wire at the presidential residence, it is also possible for them to carry out the arrest warrant after the arrest warrant for the chief of the presidential security service is issued, which means it can be early next week.
Well, no one's sure about the timing, but we do know that these investigators are more determined than ever to really execute a warrant this time. But how do you think investigators are preparing themselves for the second attempt?
I think, first of all, in terms of execution of arrest warrant, this time CIO seems to be quite determined to execute it without any failure or complication. And the difficulty is that the acting president, vice prime minister, emphasized that there should be no physical conflict between governmental agencies. So in order to execute the arrest warrant without having this type of conflict, probably they need to mobilize overwhelming physical force and numbers of the investigation side, and they should also minimize the number of the citizens and also the resistance from security services. And they also need to mobilize to achieve this goal some armored vehicle and other, the investigation power. So probably these are kind of something that they are currently pondering over. And especially if there is a human shield formed or any human chain formed, they may need to remove them from the site to another places. Some of them might be arrested. But I think the CIO and also police will definitely perform this this kind of execution of arrest warrant. The issue is when.
Well, that is why there are growing concerns over possible clashes between the investigators and the presidential security team. How likely is it that the presidential security officers will be arrested by the CIO to detain President Yoon?
First of all, I think the police has already prepared for procedure to arrest the chief of a presidential security service because he has been summoned already twice, which he refused. And either by issuance of arrest warrant or on-site arrest, probably the chief of a security service might be first arrested if he do not cooperate in the process of executing arrest warrants. And if there are other people who are using violence or any threat over the CIO officer or police, those people can be also arrested on spot because this arrest process is a legitimate legal procedure, and the CIO and police officers should not be stopped. And some of the politicians, especially lawmakers, were interested in going there again. And under current legal system, even National Assembly members might not be immune from this arrest if they commit obstruction of justice on site. So there will be some some form of arrest definitely happening. However, it is not really justified for the presidential office or president himself to not kind of acknowledge the validity of this arrest warrant, especially the current president is still in the position of president, and the legal system should stand rather than being hampered.
Well, you just mentioned the possibility of security officers and also possibly politicians being arrested. But what about the protesters, the civilians out there protesting for and against President Yoon's arrest? Can they also be held responsible for blocking the CIO?
If the civilian peacefully stands or take sides there, probably they will not be arrested immediately. They may be removed forcibly. And if they use any force or threat over the police or the officers, then it can be ground for arrest. So I think there is a possibility of arresting civilian, but I hope there's no serious clash happening at this time.
I hope so too. But, all in a nutshell, a successful execution of the warrant will come if President Yoon does comply with it. Professor Baik, do you think he will this time, considering the gravity of the situation?
I'm very sorry, but at this time, there is no kind of sign of hope, especially President Yoon's legal team announced that they would not comply this execution of arrest warrant, emphasizing the legal validity of this arrest warrant. And alternatively, they suggested that they would go follow the detention warrant or any conviction without warrant happening. But I don't think this is really an option, because this warrant is really issued through the regular system, and the government and all of the world and all the people in Korea are watching whether the rule of law in Korea is standing or failed in front of resistance, which is a continuation, which could be viewed as a continuation of the insurrection.
Alrighty, Professor Baik, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us this morning. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.